Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our MESat bulletin, and we shall start with our headlines. Russia launches offensive in Syria while airstrikes hit Aleppo. Germany bans Islamic organization and police search 190 sites. Moving on to our details, starting with the Syrian profile. Russia announced a major air offensive in Syria on Tuesday, as Syrian opposition activists reported the first airstrikes in 3 weeks in the besieged rebel-held part of the northern city of Aleppo. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu said in a meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday that the operation involves aircraft carrier Admiral Kuznetsov, which made a much publicized trip to Syria's shores last month. He also said Russian warplanes will target ammunition depots, training camps, and armaments factories in the rebel-held province of Idlib and the central province of Homs. Meanwhile, the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights reported strikes in all 3 places. On to Ankara, German Foreign Minister Frank-Walter Steinmeier on Tuesday expressed serious concerns over Turkey's crackdown on opponents, but said he favors continuing Turkey's European Union membership bid. During a joint news conference with his Turkish counterpart Mevlut Çavuşoğlu, Steinmeier said some within the EU wanted to break off Turkey's EU membership talks. Steinmeier also said Berlin stood with Turkey in its fight against the Islamic State group and the outlawed Kurdistan Workers' Party. On the other hand, Çavuşoğlu said the Turkish nation was frustrated by what he said was the EU's hypocrisy and double standards toward Turkey, and that was why the government was considering holding a referendum. Meanwhile, in Berlin, hundreds of police officers searched about 190 offices, mosques, and apartments of members and supporters of the Islamic group, the True Religion, as the German government announced a ban of the organization on Tuesday. German Interior Thomas de Maizière said police raided places in 60 cities in western Germany and also in Berlin, seizing documents and files, but nobody was detained. However, the German Interior Minister stressed that the ban does not restrict the freedom of religion in Germany or the peaceful practice of Islam in any way, but that the group had glorified terrorism and the fight against the German constitution in videos and meetings. On the other side of the world, President Barack Obama arrived in Greece on Tuesday morning on the first stop of his final foreign tour as president. Air Force One touched down mid-morning after an overnight flight from Washington. President Obama then headed to his hotel ahead of his first meeting with President Prokopios Pavlopoulos. He was then to hold talks with Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras, followed by a joint news conference. On Wednesday, President Obama is scheduled to give a major speech about democracy and globalization before flying on to Berlin. Then the president will travel to Bureau for an Asian Economic Summit before returning to Washington on Saturday. And moving on to natural disasters, the first U.S. warship to visit New Zealand in more than 30 years was changing course on Tuesday to help evacuate people stranded in a coastal town following a powerful earthquake. Hundreds of tourists and residents remained stranded in the town of Kaikoura and faced a third disrupted night after the quake early Monday cut off train and vehicle access. New Zealand military officials were on target to evacuate about 200 people by helicopter on Tuesday as a major rescue operation unfolded. From another perspective, the magnitude 7.8 quake that struck New Zealand's South Island left 2 people dead and triggered a small tsunami. And going to Moscow, a long-serving Russian minister has been detained over an alleged $2 million bribe in an investigation of the most senior government official to face charges in years. Economic Development Minister Alexei Yolukayev was detained late Monday after he allegedly received a $2 million bribe in a sting said by the FSB, according to what the investigative committee said on Tuesday. The investigators also said Yulikayev took the bribe for giving the green light to state-controlled oil giant Rosneft to take part in bidding for another oil company. It's worth mentioning that Yulikayev held the post since 2013 and worked in the government since the year 2000. On another side, Japan's cabinet on Tuesday gave its approval for an additional mission for Japanese troops in South Sudan to assist UN peacekeepers with rescue operations. The mission begins with the deployment of 350 troops to be dispatched in 3 waves beginning Sunday. Part of the troops' new assignment is for them to help rescue UN staff or non-government organization personnel under attack. In addition, Tuesday's approval would allow Japanese soldiers to join their foreign counterparts to defend a shared UN peacekeeping camp. From another aspect, Japan has dispatched troops to South Sudan since 2011, but their operation has been limited to construction projects in non-combat areas. And finally, economic news. European stocks gained on Tuesday while Asian markets mostly fell as expectations of a US rate hike boosted the dollar. In early trading, London's FTSE 100 advanced 0.6% to 6,796.01, and France CAC 40 gained 0.4% to 4,528.12. Germany's DAX rose 0.3% to 10,728.33. On Wall Street, the future for the Standard & Poor's 500 rose 0.3%, and that for the Dow Jones Industrial Average was unchanged. The dollar climbed as high as 108.37 yen from Monday's 107.87 yen as expectations of a US rate hike rose. Meanwhile, the Shanghai Composite Index lost 0.1% to 206.99, while Tokyo's Nikkei 225 was steady at 17,668.15. And before ending our news, let's take another look at the most important headlines for today. Russia launches offensive in Syria while airstrikes hit Aleppo. Germany bans Islamic organization and police search 190 sites. And we reached the end of our MESat bulletin for today. Thank you for joining us and see you tomorrow in a new bulletin.